Part 1. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhezhi. Chapter 1. Hot. This is Jin Li's only feeling at the moment. The body was heavily imprisoned, unable to move, and there was something hot moving around. How is this going? Thinking is extremely tired, but the remaining reason is clamoring for sobriety. She gritted her teeth and struggled to open her eyes. The eyes are a pair of blood-colored eyes, frantic and angry, as if to choose someone to devour. The owner of the eyes has a good appearance, with deep and handsome facial features, sharp eyebrows, noble and handsome. It's just that his face was flushed at the moment, his forehead was soaked with sweat, and he was obviously going through some unbearable torture. What the hell? Before Jin Li could figure it out, her waist was tight, and the next moment, a clear cracking sound came out. The clothes on her waist were torn. Jin Li. She thought that she probably understood what was going on. Lu Zhenji's already precarious sanity, when he saw the seductive spring light under the woman's clothes under him. Crash. He lowered his head and said quickly with the last remaining reason, "Woman, no matter who you are, I dash." Boom. He didn't finish his sentence. After the man's shocked and disbelieving eyes swept across Jin Li's face, he finally closed his eyes unwillingly and fell down. Really heavy. Jin Li threw away the wine bottle he just grabbed from the ground, and pushed the man on him away in disgust. She stood up, her head still a little dizzy. She simply sat on the sofa to organize her thoughts. Obviously, he was still drinking Tai's Hanglejun's wine a moment ago, or he just drank a little more and got drunk. Why did it appear here all of a sudden? The first time she woke up, she realized that this was not her fairy body. The meridians are blocked and there are countless impurities. It is clearly a mortal body that has not been cultivated. As if remembering something, Jin Li stood up abruptly, followed her body's memory to find the bathroom in this box, and looked over. The woman in the mirror is tall and slender, exquisite, with a large breast and a thin waist. Just looking at this figure, it is enough to be called a stunner. Looking up at this face, the red lips are plump, the bridge of the nose is delicate, and the twinkling of a pair of peach-blossomed eyes is an unstoppable passion. From anyone's point of view, this is a radiant beauty. In Jin Li's eyes, it is. The makeup is too old, the skin is too bad, and the temperament is too vulgar. Bai was blind to this beauty that was 7 or 8 points similar to his own. In the next 3 minutes, she read the memory of this woman named Bai Jin Li. White pair. A third and fourth tier actor, he doesn't have any outstanding works, and black material is flying all over the sky. What are the big names? Plastic surgery, a company wine, mistress, rubbing the heat to fry CP. All, in a word, it is a superb, everyone shouts and beats, a veritable queen of black material. Jin Li was amazed after reading it. It is really rare to see such a stupid person. If it weren't for Bai Jin Li's beautiful face, the company she signed with was profitable for her, and it would have been hidden for a long time. Of course, the company that signed Bai Jin Li is not a good thing. Most of the black materials on Bai Jin Li's body were brought by them. Anything like drinking with investors is the company's pot. They are eager to wash people and throw them on the gold master's bed in exchange for some real investments and projects. Fortunately, the girl Bai Jin Li is a good girl. Because she was born in a small place, she is too traditional in her bones, and she is resolutely unwilling to accept the unspoken rules. This is one of the reasons why she is so miserable. No strength, no background, no emotional intelligence. The only valuable body refuses to trade. Can't get out of here? Let's take a bite of all the big babies who are chasing articles. Valentine's Day is a good day. Gao Lengzi has released a new book. The slogan of the author of Tianwen is, Sushuang sweet pet, never abuse. Eat a mouthful of dog food for those who don't have a target, and a mouthful of candy for those with a target. The new book needs everyone's support. If you like it, remember to add a bookshelf collection to vote and comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhezhi. Chapter 2. Jin Li exhaled, walked out of the bathroom, and saw the man lying on the ground at a glance. Forward. Who is this man here? She remembered that Bai Jinli was dragged to this club by her good friend Anro. Anro and Bai Jinli are from the same entertainment company, and she is also Bai Jinli's only friend. Anro often helps Bai Jinli, and brings Bai Jinli with him for any activities and resources. When Bai Jinli is reprimanded by her manager, she will stand up and say good things for Bai Jinli. You can simply win the Best Girlfriend of the Year award. However, Jinli lowered her eyes. Why did this body drink seasoned wine after it came to the meeting? When Bai Jinli was unconscious after drinking the added wine, where were the Anro people? Jinli didn't know how he appeared here, nor did he know who this inexplicable man was lying on the floor now. In short, it was definitely not the person Anro asked Bai Jinli to accompany. Why so sure? Jinli turned her head to look at the man's handsome and innocent profile, and clicked his tongue. There really is such a top-notch investor, Anro, that woman, can give her the opportunity. Do not care. She lowered her head and glanced at herself. The skirt was torn from the side waist, revealing a large piece of snowy skin. Jinli pulled the jacket off the man and put it on his body to cover up the leak spring light, and she Shiren walked out. What she didn't know was that not long after she went out, the man lying on the ground in a state of embarrassment woke up. After realizing what had happened before, the man's dark eyes suddenly turned gloomy. He took out his mobile phone and his voice was as cold as ice. Check it out for me, who's doing the drinks today? Besides. Uncontrollably, he thought of those gleaming peach blossom eyes, and a glimpse of the seductive spring under his skirt. He closed his eyes fiercely, and his voice was hoarse. Also, who is the woman who entered this room? Jinli took a taxi back to the downstairs of the apartment where he lived. Along the way, the driver saw that her hair was messy and she was wrapped in a men's coat, and she enthusiastically asked if she needed help, or called the police. Jinli. She declined the driver's kindness, paid the money, and walked into the community. As soon as he opened the door and walked in, Jinli heard an exclamation, "Ah! What happened to you, Jinli?" She turned around and saw a young girl in a nightgown and a mask standing at the bathroom door looking at her. Bai Jinli's roommate and best friend, Anro. Anro looked at Jinli's current appearance. Her long hair was messy, her face was pale, and she was wearing a men's suit. Looking very embarrassed. She was overjoyed. Could it be that her plan still succeeded? Bai Jinli really slept with the investor? Seeing that Jinli didn't speak, she hurriedly tore off the mask and approached her, wanting to hold her hand affectionately. "Jinli, why don't you talk? Where are you going at night?" "I just want to go out to breathe. I didn't see you when I came back, and President Wang didn't see anyone. Are you and President Wang together?" President Wang, the investor Anro brought Bai Jinli to meet tonight, is said to be a very important investor. A very greasy middle-aged man. As a small transparent, Bai Jinli has little work most of the time, and it is the same today. It was Anro who pulled her. She insisted that she wanted to meet a rich investor tonight, and she would bring Bai Jinli with her, so that Bai Jinli would perform well. Sorry. Clearly a very poor excuse. Anro was just taking the glamorous and sexy Bai Jinli as a favor, but this stupid woman really thought that the other party was thinking of herself and drawing connections for her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhezhi. Chapter 3. Jinli took a step back, avoiding Anro's hand. Anro was surprised and aggrieved. "What's wrong with you, Jinli. Jinli just looked at her coldly. It was the first time that Enro saw such Bai Jinli. Bai Jinli was born with unparalleled beauty, this is something everyone knows. Bai Jinli is a straw bag beauty, which is a fact recognized by everyone. In the past, Bai Jinli gave Enro the feeling that beauty is beautiful, but it has no temperament. And because of the perennial negative scandals, the whole person seems a little gloomy and shrinking. Many people even scolded her on the internet, saying that she was blind with such a beautiful face and could not stand on the stage. But Bai Jinli at this moment is completely different. The face is still the same face, but the whole person feels completely different. It's like a piece of rough jade, which was carefully carved by someone, brushing off the layer of ash on it, revealing the brilliance inside. Dazzling, a little dazzling. Taking advantage of her height, Jinli stared at Enro condescendingly. After you went out, do you know how long I waited for you in the box? It was because of this. Enro breathed a sigh of relief and felt relieved. She put on an innocent expression, you know, I drank 2 glasses of wine and was a little dizzy, so I stayed for a while. But when I went in again, I found that you were all gone. Really? Jinli said lightly. Enro nodded quickly. She didn't know why she was nervous. It is clear that Jinli is a very stupid woman, and she always believes whatever she says. Seeing Jinli's indifferent expression, she couldn't tell whether she was angry or angry, and she couldn't figure out what she was thinking, and then she continued, I've been looking for you for a long time and couldn't find it, so I came back and waited for you, I've always been worried about you. Enro didn't finish her sentence. Because Jinli couldn't hold back, she laughed. You're worried about me, she gave a mocking look. Worried about me, not a single call or message for 2 hours. She took a step closer to Enro. Worried about me? Are you even in the mood to put on a mask? Enro couldn't help but took a step back and held onto the doorframe. She felt a little weak in her legs. For some reason, she couldn't help but panic when she met Shang Jinli's black eyes. She clearly felt that she was afraid. Afraid of what? Scared of Bai Jinli? Joke. A fool, what's there to be afraid of? She thought like this, as if she suddenly gave birth to strength. Straightening her back, Enro asked calmly, Bai Jinli, what do you mean? I kindly take you to meet with investors, what do I want? I still don't want to make a line for you to help you become popular. Why? Do you still doubt me? She looked angrily, I really fed the dog with good intentions, okay, if you doubt me like this, then our friend has nothing to do. I won't bother to match up for you in the future, whatever you don't. No one supports the resources, and it has nothing to do with me. After she finished speaking, she was ready to turn away decisively. A soft stop came from behind. Enro paused for a while, feeling proud, she didn't guess wrong, Bai Jinli's coward, as long as she looked angry and disappointed, she panicked. This time, she must not be easily forgiven. Enro thought so. She had to know that she was not someone who could be slapped casually. Enro turned around leisurely, waiting for Jinli to apologize to herself. However, oncoming him was a basin of cold water. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 4. The icy water trickled down her hair, and Enro shuddered. Jinli casually put the water basin to the side and looked at her with a smile, are you awake? Enro widened her eyes, took a deep breath, and stared at her angrily, you. How am I? Jinli's face suddenly sank. She took a step forward and grabbed the collar of Enro's nightgown, her eyes seemed to be frozen with ice. Enro, do you really think no one else knows about the dirty things you've done secretly? You took me to meet with investors, and you want to help me become popular? Isn't it because of my beauty that you sold me for resources? Enro widened her eyes in surprise, Bai Jinli, how did she know? Take me as a favor, don't you think that when you leave tonight and I drank the wine with the added ingredients, I have to do whatever I want with that boss wine? I didn't, Enro denied loudly. No. Jin Lee suddenly let go of her and even smoothed the collar for her. The person opposite suddenly changed from fierce to gentle, which did not make Enro breathe a sigh of relief. She looked at Jin Lee, whose face had calmed down, but became even more frightened in her heart. Why? It's only been 2 hours since we didn't see him. How could Jin Lee become like this? So unfamiliar, so terrifying. I also hope you don't, Enro Jin Lee said calmly, because I have allergies tonight. I only drank that glass of wine all night. Her black and white eyes stared at Enro unblinkingly. You know, it almost killed me. Actually not nearly. After Jin Lee found that she was uncomfortable, she found an excuse to coax that President Wang out, and was about to call an ambulance. But for some reason, she went to the strange man's room. Finally became myself. When Jin Lee came, the body had no signs of life. Jin Lee is dead. The strange thing is that Jin Lee didn't feel any trace of Jin Lee's soul, as if this body does not have its own soul. Jin Lee frowned, a little puzzled in her heart. Enro only felt that Jin Lee's expression at the moment was a little scary. She subconsciously denied it. I didn't give you medicine, and I didn't give you away. You have to trust me, Jin Lee, I'm your best friend. She didn't want to find Jin Lee's trouble to deal with her at all at this moment. She just wanted to leave quickly. Jin Lee looked at Enro inquiringly, but Enro only felt that at this moment, her whole person was thoroughly seen by those bright eyes. You really haven't done it? Jin Lee asked suspiciously. Enro nodded quickly. Jin Lee sneered, I don't believe in empty words, or what if you swear? Enro was stunned for a moment. Does anyone still believe in oaths these days? She breathed a sigh of relief. Sure enough, he was fooled by Jin Lee's appearance, right? What did she think the other party could say? It was an oath? Still that stupid thing. Isn't this kind of oath just opening your mouth? She said lightly, okay, I swear. The corner of Jin Lee's lips seemed to be slightly raised. She looked at the person in front of her and reminded her in a louder voice, Enro, something like an oath should never be messed up. Especially, towards me. As a unique koi fairy in the heaven, she has great luck. The oath made in front of her face is to be fulfilled. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 5. Enro didn't know this at all. She opened her mouth and came, I swear, I didn't have bad thoughts about Jin Lee, and I didn't add ingredients to tonight's wine, if I lied. She paused. For some reason, Enro suddenly felt a little flustered. But Jin Lee stared at her right in front of her eyes. What would happen if you lied? Enro gritted her teeth and continued, if I lie, I won't receive the announcement. The characters I play will be attacked one by one, and they will be hacked by the entire internet, and I will not be able to survive in the entertainment industry. I will be poor for a lifetime. Jin Lee laughed. She clearly saw that after Enro finished saying these words, the thin layer of pink radiance that was shining on the top of her head instantly turned black. This is human luck. As the koi fairy in charge of luck, koi can clearly see everyone's luck. Enro's luck was above average among humans, but now, her oath has been fulfilled. As her oath said. From now on, she will be with bad luck for a lifetime. Enro didn't know these things, she just felt a little cold all over her body, and her body was still a little heavy. But she thought it was because her clothes were soaking wet, so she didn't care much. She felt that she was like a demon tonight, and she was inexplicably afraid of the woman Jin Lee. At this moment, my body is wet and cold, and my hair is wet and sticky against my neck, which is very uncomfortable. Enro said and turned to leave. Jin Lee didn't call her again. She turned back to her room. Go back to the room and close the door. Jin Lee leaned against the door, a crack suddenly appeared in the indifferent and calm face. Something is wrong. She closed her eyes and felt it carefully. Sure enough, it was exactly the same as what she had just felt. Her whole body was empty and clean, and there was no trace of divine power. Trying to get the soul out of this body, Jin Lee couldn't do it. What on earth is it? Could it be that she was somehow bound to this mortal body? She concentrated and felt it carefully, and found that this world and the heaven she was in were completely isolated from it. In this mortal body, she lost her divine power, and her divine soul power was compressed to an extremely weak level. Not to mention that the great gods belonging to the immortals can't use it. At this moment, her power is not even comparable to those of the powerful ordinary mortals. Some way must be found to restore divine power. Jin Lee had such an idea in the dark. When her divine power is restored, she will be able to tear apart this world and return to the heaven. But in this world, she couldn't feel the fluctuation of half the spiritual power of heaven and earth. Even if she is a god, it is in vain if she cannot absorb spiritual power. How to restore strength? Jin Lee fell into melancholy. It was at this moment that the phone rang. Jin Lee, who was in deep thought, was taken aback. She reached into her pocket and took out the still vibrating phone. The phone page displayed the word Kingja. Sister Ching, Bai Jin Lee's manager, is a middle-aged woman with a mean face and a meaner mouth than her face. Jin Lee pressed to answer. Bai Jin Lee, where are you now? The company called me just now and said that President Wang is going to withdraw from the capital, and they are not satisfied with your name. You said that you have soy milk in your head? It said that the investor must coax, even if people point at your nose and ask you to call Dad, you have to open your smiley face and shout to me. Do you want to be mad at me? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 6. Jin Lee. Most of the limited memories of Bai Jin Lee and Sister Ching in her mind were not harmonious. Most of the time, Sister Ching pointed at Bai Jin Lee's nose and cursed. Bai Jin Lee's image in front of netizens is domineering, arrogant and lacking in quality. In fact, this woman is cowardly in front of the company and her agent. Jin Lee wanted to scold this human being for being stupid again, cowardly in the company, but just in front of the fans. Isn't this a typical case of not asking for anything? Before Jin Lee could react, Sister Ching had already scolded her fiercely, and left a sentence at the end, "You come to the company tomorrow morning." Beep. The phone was hung up mercilessly. Clearly, Sister Ching was not at all prepared to let Jin Lee speak. Jin Lee. She glanced at the phone and didn't care much, threw it on the bed, turned around and went to the bathroom. When she washed herself fragrantly and lay on the soft bed, Jin Lee was still sighing. Although the bathtub in this world is very convenient, it is still not as good as the spiritual spring in her fairy mansion. Sister Ching's angry words didn't take her to heart at all. Jin Lee picked up the phone and played around, then fell asleep in a daze. Just before her consciousness fell into a deep sleep, Jin Lee faintly felt as if she had forgotten something. What have you forgotten? She thought blankly for a second. Cannot remember. Never mind. Go to sleep. Jin Lee yawned a little and fell asleep calmly. At the same time, in a high-end villa area in the city, a man in a black bathrobe rang. He had obviously just finished bathing, and the tips of his ink-colored hair were still dripping with water. The clear water drops along the deep facial features, winding down from the slender neck, tightly adsorbed on the tight muscled chest, and following the man's bending and leaning, it submerged into the slightly revealing sex/feel in the abdominal muscles. Hormones that belong to men are bursting. This is a man who can easily arouse women's desire. Did you find out? Yes, sir, all the information about that woman has been sent to you. The man on the other side of the phone was respectful and cautious. The man raised his lips happily, walked to the study, and turned on the computer. If Jin Lee was here, she would be able to recognize it at a glance. In the photo on the screen, the woman with a coquettish smile was herself. And the handsome man sitting in front of the computer was the one who, not long ago, waved a wine bottle and almost opened his head. I found you. The man's tone was low, and he snorted with a vague smile. His falcon-like inky eyes stared at Jin Lee's photo, as if he had captured the owner of the photo through this poorly captured photo. That's the hunter, finding the look of the prey. In her sleep, Jin Lee shivered unconsciously and hugged the quilt in her arms even tighter. When Jin Lee woke up in the morning, his head was a little dizzy. She didn't sleep well last night. It seems to have a dreaming that a pair of indifferent eyes have been staring at him. The hairs all over my body are standing up. She shivered while holding the quilt, and sat for a while with her eyes half closed, then reluctantly climbed down from the bed and began to pack herself. An hour later, Jin Lee stood at the door of the company. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 7. This entertainment company called Morning Star can only be regarded as a humble small workshop in the industry. The boss has no vision and likes to help relatives and make friends. Therefore, in the entire company, most of the management are more or less related to the boss. Among these relationship households, the truly professional ones cannot be counted on one hand. Truly capable professionals can't stay here for long. After all, there are not many capable people who can endure a group of laymen pointing fingers at them for a long time. Originally signed by Jin Lee, Chen Xing hoped to turn around and make a fortune. Although Jin Lee has no acting skills or talents, she looks good. Not to mention, this circle is a place to look at faces, at least more than other industries. If you look good, even if you can't do whatever you want, it will give you a lot more green lights than others. What's more, Jin Lee's face is no longer simply good looking. Not to mention the current entertainment industry, even if you count 20 years ahead, in the era when so-called goddesses were born in large numbers, Jin Lee's face can be called a beautiful and prosperous age. Although it seems unfair, God just opened another window for Jin Lee. No, not only opened the window, but even opened the back door. If the boss of Morning Star could be more awake at that time, he would not be counting on Jin Lee to sell her beauty and body to attract investors, but would earnestly pick up 2 good scripts for Jin Lee, spend more money on marketing, and create a fan acquisition. The character of the person, she can't be still wandering in the 3rd or 4th line now, and she is still full of black material. Of course, Jin Lee has been mixed up like this. Although there is no one in the company, it is inseparable from her own stupidity and acting. In short, the two sides are half a caddy. Standing at the gate of the company, Jin Lee sighed with emotion, and when he looked up, he saw a woman with exquisite makeup walking towards him murderously. The burgundy high heels knocked on the ground and stopped in front of Jin Lee. Qing Ji is a woman over 40 years old with a still charming charm. Her makeup is always exquisite and her clothes are always fashionable. Jin Lee felt that she was more of a star than herself. Sister Qing took a look at Jin Lee, snorted coldly, but didn't say much. "Come in with me." After all, it is the door of the entertainment company. No matter how angry she is, she can't scold her artist at the door, or tomorrow's hot search may become #awful. A certain flower was publicly scolded by her agent #reveal the unknown sadness of the seemingly beautiful star #. Morning Star Entertainment treats its artists harshly #. So in order to avoid the hot search of her own company with this image, Sister Qing brought Jin Lee to her office. In Jin Lee's memory, it seems that he heard gossip from other people in the company. It is said that his agent is the sister-in-law of the daughter-in-law of the sister-in-law of Chen Xing's mother. Summarized in one sentence, Sister Qing, a relative of the boss. There is someone behind. To scold an artist is quite emboldened. Jin Li thought that she was going to be scolded face to face, but who knew that Sister Qing was just sarcastic? By Jin Li, are you capable? Let go of investors' pigeons. Bai Jinli is very afraid of Sister Qing. Every time I faced Sister Qing, it was like a mouse meeting a cat. And a strong woman like Sister Qing is the least likely to see others like this. So every time she was 80% angry and saw Bai Jinli's submissive appearance, she could turn into 10%. But Jinli was not afraid of her. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 8. Jin Li glanced at the woman, and unexpectedly found that this person had clear eyes, good luck, and no resentment. Obviously, this is a man who has done nothing bad to harm anyone. But her popularity is very bad, including the former Bai Jin Li. Few people in this company like her. A woman with a typical knife mouth and tofu heart. Jin Li has always liked to deal with such magnanimous and kind people. So with Sister Qing's stinky face, she said with a smile, Sister Qing, your makeup is so beautiful today. Sister Qing, who was full of anger, said. She glanced suspiciously at Jin Li. What was her idea of Bai Jin Li? Sister Qing didn't like Bai Jin Li very much in her heart. After she became suspicious, she rolled her eyes and sneered, don't change the subject, Bai Jin Li. The company is very angry this time. Wouldn't want to know. Jin Li blinked. She looked at Sister Qing and suddenly sighed faintly. This reaction was quite different from what Sister Qing expected. To be precise, the Bai Jin Li I saw today was completely different from the Bai Jin Li that Sister Qing knew in the past. Of course, Sister Qing only thought that the other party knew that she was in trouble, and it was rare to be honest. As everyone knows, the person in front of him has completely changed his core. Jin Li said to Sister Qing very sincerely, Sister Qing, I have to discuss this matter seriously. President Wang's investment was obviously taken by Enro. Logically speaking, the reward belongs to her. It's useless if she doesn't pull it. I don't understand, how can this investment become my business? Sister Qing was startled. Not only herself, but also the leaders of the company, after receiving the call from President Wang, subconsciously, they identified Bai Jin Li as the culprit. Yes, they all forgot that this investment was indeed made by Enro on his own initiative. Why are you looking for Bai Jin Li? Sister Qing snorted coldly, because President Wang named and reprimanded you. Jin Li is not angry either. She looked up at Sister Qing, then, why did he scold me? When she said this, her tone was soft and slow, and her demeanor was casual. Those eyes, black, clear and beautiful eyeballs, turned lightly, like a warm and clear spring water, brushing her whole body. Sister Qing's expression was stunned for a moment. At this time, the first thing that came to her mind was Jin Li's slightly open, soft red lips when she spoke, and the smile that raised her eyes just now, like a spring breeze blowing through the peach branches. The gorgeous and sentimental petals fell from the branches on the tip of her heart. Heck! Sister Qing realized what she was thinking, and couldn't help but spit at her. Her kids are all in college. After spitting, she couldn't help but look up at Jin Li carefully. Seeing this, Sister Qing became more and more surprised. She and Bai Jin Li have also been together for a very long time. It stands to reason that no matter how amazing the beauty is, if you get used to it, it will be difficult to make any waves. What's more, Bai Jin Li's character is still so bad, which even lowers his impression score. Usually, Sister Qing can really handle it. But today, right now, after a long absence, she felt something from the woman in front of her. It was the first time she saw the real person Bai Jin Li, that kind of admiration and surprise that came from her heart and could not be suppressed no matter what. How can there be such a beautiful beauty? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 9. In the face of such a beauty, who can be angry? Others don't know, the anger in Sister Qing's heart has been eliminated by Jin Li's smile anyway. She was secretly surprised at how different Bai Jin Li was today, but her face was still stern. Why does President Wang reprimand you? It's your own business. What the company wants is only the final result. This is dumping. How could the company not know what Mr. Wang is really dissatisfied with? It's the little beauty who didn't eat the lively and fragrant beauty in front of her. But this kind of thing, even if you and I are well aware of it, can't be said on the surface. So Sister Qing should be vague. But since Jin Li is here today, some words must be broken. So Jin Li was aggrieved. I was resting at home that day, and Anro called me and said that there was a good script and a good opportunity, so I quickly dressed up and went. I went. Sister Qing. Even if she knew that Bai Jin Li was an idiot, she never thought that the other party could be so stupid. If people let you go, you go? Any chance? What a good opportunity, Anro can give it to you. Bai Jin Li couldn't tell who Anro was, but could Sister Qing not tell? She knew who Anro was, and she knew that Bai Jin Li, an idiot, was being played around, but she didn't care. In this world, stupidity is the original sin. Idiots should live a rough life. Compared with Kong, who has a good-looking face, is stupid and pretentious, and whose popularity is almost non-existent, and Anro, who is not so outstanding in appearance but is smart enough and cruel, is undoubtedly more likely to come forward. Sister Qing didn't take Jin Li's words seriously. But Jin Li continued to say, after I went, I found out that she asked me to. She didn't say what she said later, but both of them knew what it meant. Jin Li looked extremely aggrieved and angry. What kind of person am I, Sister Qing? You don't know. I hate these unspoken rules and disgusting transactions. How can my innocent daughter's house be sullied by such a big pig's hoof? Sister Qing. It was difficult for her to describe how she felt when she heard this. Innocent daughter's home? Big trotters. Are you serious? She took a careful look at Jin Li, and subconsciously made a professional comment in her heart. Her expression was natural, her tone was indignant, and it was very real. Isn't such an exaggerated style of painting performed? But she is very clear about Bai Jin Li's level. If she can have such acting skills, as for being mocked as a vase? Sister Qing was relieved, and quietly in her heart, she marked Bai Jin Li with a label, a wonderful thinking. The previous label on this label is a vase. Sister Qing felt that she could not keep up with the pace of her artist in just one day. She rubbed her brows a little tiredly and said, these things are not the point, Bai Jin Li, I called you here today to let you solve the problem. Don't talk about those superfluous things. Not the point. Jin Li put away the grievances on her face and stared at her. Of course the company doesn't think it's important, but Sister Qing, do you also think this kind of thing isn't important to a girl? Sister Qing was startled. Jin Li's tone was a little cold. Bai Jin Li is 24 years old this year. Sister Qing, isn't your daughter in her late 20s? If your daughter encounters this kind of thing, you don't think it's important. You, Sister Qing was so frightened that she ignored how strange it sounded that Jin Li directly called Bai Jin Li's name. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 10. What are you talking about? Sister Qing glared at Jin Li. Jin Li said lightly, it's just a matter of self-respect, Sister Qing, I know you are a good person, and thanks to your secret help in the past 2 years, I can stand here completely without being packaged and sold by the company, so I am willing to be honest with you." Sister Ching was surprised. She stared at Jinli with wide eyes, as if she couldn't believe it. That sentence just now was said by Jinli. How would she know? Jinli laughed. "Whether you believe it or not, Sister Ching, the former Jinli is dead." Looking at Sister Shanking's horrified eyes, she smiled lightly. "My name is Jinli now. Celestial Koi Fairy, Jinli." Sister Ching just thought she was talking nonsense. She suddenly looked at Jinli with a 3-point shock on her face and a complicated expression. You used to, all pretend." As soon as she said these words, the usual knife mouth started again. "You have such a mind, how can you be so stupid now? Jinli." She estimated the time. "You have to hurry up. Today, she is here to solve things. When things are done, she will rush to lunch. She made a special reservation for a well-reputed internet celebrity restaurant in the morning, so she couldn't be late." "Sister Ching, I'm going to the general manager's office now, so I won't talk to you for now." Jinli turned around and left. When she was about to reach the door, she suddenly turned around and looked at Sister Ching. "By the way, Sister Ching's daughter is going to have a holiday soon, right? You can spend more time with your daughter. Better to quit. Morningstar is not a good place to work." "What?" Sister Ching frowned, not knowing what Jinli's nonsense sentence meant. But by the time she wanted to ask, Jinli had already left. "General manager's office?" Sister Ching thought of something, and hurried to catch up, but was stopped by the assistant general manager at the door of the office. She had a bad premonition in her heart. As far as Jinli's face is concerned, it is rare for a man to be unmoved, let alone the general manager. When Sister Ching thought of the other party, she felt a pang in her heart. The other party has been thinking of Jinli for a long time. Now the fat sheep is delivered to the door by himself, and this lonely man and widow are living in the same room. Although Sister Ching didn't like Jinli much, she couldn't bear to see such a young girl being destroyed. Sister Ching tried to break in, but found that she couldn't do it, so she quickly took out her mobile phone and wanted to call Jinli. As soon as the phone was taken out, it vibrated, and there was a missed message on it. I'm fine, don't worry." The back is a familiar emoji. It was Jinli's own tone that was correct. Sister Ching breathed a sigh of relief. She hesitated for a while, and slowly returned to her office, but the door was not closed, and she kept an eye on the movement of the general manager's office. What is Jinli doing now? She was sitting on the leather boss chair in the office, and in front of her was a middle-aged, bald man. It is the general manager of Morningstar. Although her current physical quality is not as good as that of the most powerful group of mortals, it is more than enough to hang a middle-aged man who was hollowed out by alcohol. The middle-aged man who wanted to do something to her just now was lying on the ground like a dead dog. "Hurry up and decide." Jinli's tone was very impatient. She herself is the only one in the world to look good, and her eyes are naturally quite high. In the face of good looking, she is also willing to reason with people. As for the general manager of Morningstar, not cooperating? Then have a fight, and then continue talking. Boom. In the airtight office, there was a less obvious sound of falling to the ground and a muffled sound. The assistant, who was conscientiously guarding the door, sighed with envy in his heart. Listen to this voice, the situation of the general manager is really intense. General manager, quick, come and escort us.